Welcome to Fuel My Mindset, where powerful thinking meets timeless wisdom. How to defeat your enemy without fighting. 5 proven strategies. What if I told you that Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, never needed to destroy his enemies to defeat them? The Roman emperor who commanded vast armies discovered something that completely changed how he handled opposition. And today, I'm going to share his 5 strategies that will help you defeat anyone working against you without throwing a single punch. Intro and context, 15 to 45 seconds. Look, we've all been there. Someone at work is sabotaging your projects. A family member constantly undermines you. Maybe there's that person in your social circle who just seems to have it out for you. Your first instinct? Fight back, get revenge, show them who's boss. But here's the thing. The ancient Stoics, guys like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, they figured out something incredible. The people who win without fighting don't just defeat their enemies, they make them irrelevant. And I'm about to show you exactly how they did it.
Strategy 1. Master your internal game. 1 minute to 30 seconds. The setup. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, now called Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This guy was literally running an empire, dealing with wars, betrayals, political enemies every single day. And a secret weapon? Internal control. The problem. Here's what most people do wrong. Someone disrespects them and immediately they're angry, reactive, emotional. Guess what? You just gave your enemy exactly what they wanted. They're now controlling your emotional state. They're living rent-free in your head. The solution. Instead, try this. Next time someone comes at you with hostility, take 3 deep breaths before you respond. I know it sounds simple, but this is where your power lies. While they're losing their cool, you stay calm. While they're getting emotional, you stay logical. Real example. I had a colleague who used to interrupt me in every meeting, trying to make me look bad. Old me would have snapped back, but I started using this technique, staying calm, taking those breaths, and responding thoughtfully. You know what happened? Other people in the room started noticing who was professional and who wasn't. Within months, he lost credibility while I gained respect. The person who controls their emotions controls the situation.
Strategy 2. Become a detective, not a warrior. The Stoic insight. Epictetus, who was literally a slave before becoming one of history's greatest philosophers, said, "It's impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Most conflicts aren't really about what they seem to be about. The strategy. Instead of fighting your enemy, become curious about them. What's really driving their behavior? Are they insecure? Threatened? Protecting something? When you understand the real motivation behind someone's hostility, you can address the root cause instead of just the symptoms. How to apply this? Start asking questions like, "Help me understand why this is important to you," or "What would need to happen for this to work for both of us?" You're not being weak, you're being strategic, you're gathering intelligence. Why it works? Here's the crazy part. When you genuinely try to understand someone who's been opposing you, 2 things happen. First, you often discover their concerns are actually legitimate and fixable. Second, your willingness to listen often disarms their hostility. I once had a manager who seemed to hate everything I did. Instead of fighting back, I asked him to coffee and said, "I feel like we're not connecting well. What can I do better?" Turns out, he felt like I was going around him on projects. Once I understood that, we fixed the communication issue, and he became one of my biggest supporters.
Strategy 3. Let your character be your weapon. 4 minutes to 5:30. The long game. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." The Stoics played the long game. They knew that consistently acting with integrity, wisdom, and virtue would eventually triumph over any short-term tactics their enemies used. The contrast effect. Here's how this works. When you consistently take the high road while your enemy takes the low road, you create a stark contrast that everyone notices. Your enemy's bad behavior becomes more obvious when it's next to your good behavior. Practical steps. Always be professional in your communications, especially in writing. Be completely honest and transparent. When they attack you personally, respond by addressing the actual issues. Show up consistently and do excellent work. Treat everyone with respect, even when they don't deserve it. The payoff? This isn't about being a pushover. This is strategic. While your enemy is burning bridges, you're building them. While they're creating drama, you're creating value. Guess who people want to work with long-term?
Strategy 5. Turn your enemy into your personal trainer. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, your enemy isn't just an obstacle. They're unwittingly helping you become stronger. Reframe the situation. Every challenge your enemy throws at you is like resistance training for your character. They're forcing you to get better at communication, patience, strategic thinking, and emotional control. They're basically giving you a free masterclass in conflict resolution. Extract the lessons. Ask yourself, what skills is this situation forcing me to develop? How is this challenge making me stronger? What am I learning about myself through this conflict? How can I use this experience to help others in similar situations? The gratitude twist. Here's something wild. Years from now, you might actually be grateful for this enemy. They pushed you to grow in ways you never would have otherwise. They revealed strengths you didn't know you had.
The ultimate victory, 8:30 to 9:30. Here's the thing about these Stoic strategies. They don't just help you defeat your enemies. They help you transcend the need to have enemies at all. When you master your emotions, seek understanding, act with virtue, practice strategic indifference, and turn obstacles into opportunities, something amazing happens. You become the kind of person that most people want to support, not oppose. Your former enemies either become irrelevant to your success or, and this happens more often than you'd think, they actually start respecting you and sometimes even become allies.
Call to action, 9:30 to 10. The Stoics weren't passive, they were strategically superior. While their enemies wasted energy on conflict, they invested in improvement. While others damaged their reputations through poor behavior, the Stoics built theirs through consistent virtue. If you found these strategies helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on Stoic philosophy and personal development. And here's your homework. Pick one person who's been challenging you and try applying just one of these strategies this week. Let me know in the comments how it goes. Remember, as Seneca said, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. Choose the longer path of wisdom over the immediate satisfaction of conflict. You won't just defeat your enemies, you'll become someone who doesn't need enemies to feel powerful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.